Hare Krishna. Jai Jagannath. So this is the third part of our discussion regarding the OS Mains 2016 General Studies Paper 1. So question number 1 and question number 2 rows answer discussion I'm already covered. This is the third part. Okay. Question number 3. So first question was explain the idea unity in diversity. The unity in diversity हम बहुत टाइम रे सुनो कि भारत गोटे देश जोथे कि unity in diversity अछि वसुधैव कुटुंबकम, right? So you will see the answer. The most often noticed feature of Indian society is unity in diversity. Okay, this phrase celebrates how India has been stronger by welcoming various cultural, social, and ethnic elements. Okay, so understand this thing. The most often noticed feature of Indian society is unity and diversity. So this is the introduction part. Okay, we are starting like this. So this phrase celebrate how India has been stronger. केमती भारत stronger होची by welcoming various cultural, social, and ethnic elements. So generally, देश रे तमे विभिन्न देश देखियो माने in this world कि generally तांकर कोन cultural, ethnicity and society almost माने एका भलिया थाए. एका भलिया कोन माने गोटे religion लोक रि थांती हला तो गोटे ethnicity लोक रि थांती किंतु भारत तमे गोटे देश देखियो जोथरे कोन विभिन्न प्रकार religion विभिन्न प्रकार culture assimilate ହେଇଯାଇଛି. Okay, even they are staying together. Okay, so generally कोन जतले विभिन्न प्रजातिर लोक रहंती कोन तांक भितरे conflict देखा जाय. Even in India it is there but it is not like in other countries. Okay, so they say बहुत देश रो कोन state religion थाए. Okay, so religion similar थाए, culture एका थाए, so that's it तांकर unitedness अधिका थाए. But India is a very special country जोथरे कि विभिन्न प्रकार cultural लोक रहिछंती, religion लोक रहिछंती, society लोक रहिछंती, विभिन्न बहुत प्रकार language रहिछि. Okay, still we are united as a nation. That's why the process जैसे तुम्हें Indian like freedom struggle पढ़िबो तो the first like foremost important thing जो INC रो थिला कोन Indian National Congress रो कि केमती माने national building को आ जाए ना nation केमती विभिन्न प्रकार लोक अछि ना केमती united को आ जाए because they are divided by class, caste, religion. So okay, so तांको united करिया पे गोटे nationalistic spirit जागृत करिया थिला. Okay, so it also translates the notion accommodation without assimilation. It also translates the notion accommodation without assimilation has been the key feature of Indian civilization. So जो accommodation without assimilation तो ताको भी से translate करो जी. India has accommodated different elements of society without letting them lose their separate identity. We have got enough freedom to practice our own way of life. Okay. We note that unity in diversity is not something unique to India only. This concept is a popular motto in most nations and it has also provided backbone to several political and social movements. Its core idea is unity without uniformity. Its core idea is what? Unity without uniformity and diversity without fragmentation. So these are some key words. You should remember these things also. कि कौन कोसी यार कोर आइडिया कोन जो यूनिटी डाइवर्सिटी यूनिटी विदाउट यूनिफॉर्मिटी हैना यूनिफॉर्म सोसाइटी न होइतले भी हम यूनिटी केमति रहिबो. ओके एंड डाइवर्सिटी विदाउट फ्रैगमेंटेशन. तो डाइवर्सिटी रहिबो किंतु विदाउट एनी फ्रैगमेंटेशन. ओके वी विल एक्सेप्ट द डाइवर्सिटी कल्चर. इट इज बेस्ड ऑन द नोशन दैट डाइवर्सिटी एनरिचेस ह्यूमन इंटरेक्शन. तो नोशन कोन या भितरे एटा काहे कि हम एमति करछु बिकॉज़ डाइवर्सिटी व्हाट विल डू हैपन एनरिचेस ह्यूमन इंटरेक्शन. जेमति कि जतले तमे जदि देखियो like questions ase Indo-Islamic art architecture. So Indian gote local indigenous architecture thila Islamic architecture asla to mix he gote nuwa prakar art architecture start hela, nuwa prakar gote civilization start hela, right? And like even when the British people came, so Western architecture and Indian architecture misiki bi nuwa prakar art architecture and culture education. So they like we influence them, they influence us. Okay, so this is the thing. Unity in diversity is a popular motto within and among nation states and also in political and social movements. Different elements of unity in diversity. Different elements of unity in diversity. Geographical elements, religious elements, cultural elements, political elements, linguistic elements. So unity in diversity बहुत प्रकार element हमें ताको चाहे explain कर परिया गोटे पर गोटे. Based on the question you see. What is the demand of question, how much time you have, what is the mark, so accordingly you have to explain these things. Okay, यदि 5 मार्क क्वेश्चन पचारथियो you don't have to explain so many things 10 मार्क ले टिक एक्सप्लेन करियो one line. So geographical elements, religious elements, cultural elements, political, linguistic, institution of pilgrimage as element, accommodation within Hinduism as element. तो हिंदू सोसाइटी तुम देखियो गोटे हमरो नेचर अछि कि we accommodate people easily, very easily, जोटा कि अन्य प्रकार रिलीजन रो generally it lacks. Then tradition of interdependence as element. Okay, तो मैं देखियो हिंदू सोसाइटी like different माने in India different religion they interdependent with each other. Okay, even Hindu festival like Muslim they provide like many things like clothes or some robes, other things whatever is required. Factors leading to unity amidst diversity in India. The entire country is governed by one single constitution. So amar unity and diversity केमती रहा है ना. First, the entire country is governed by one single constitution. Okay, so you have a single constitution for states and the center also. Religious coexistence. So this is from the from ancient days, you can say, or the medieval age. We have the religious coexistence nature. Interstate mobility. We have right freedom to mobile go to any states. Your fundamental right 19 is there, right? Fundamental right 19 your right to freedom, right? Freedom to move, freedom to work, like this, freedom of speech, expression, right? So other factors such as uniform pattern of law, penal code, administrative works. So thanks to like this is one of the you can say among so many disadvantages, one of the advantages of the British India that they helped us to unite people of India, right? So they had a uniform structure, so we inherited that. Okay, when we got independent, so uniform pattern of law, penal code, administrative works, and even your all India services, right? IS and IPS and Indian Forest Service officers, they are integrating these things. Okay, like many things you can write from our if I studies political science, I'm podichu I'm podichu your your जो 7 schedule जमते थे state list, union list, and your federal structure. Yes, quasi federal, we say that, right? Because you have a your strong center, right? With so generally federalism में कौन state and because state level में separate power मिलची and center को separate power मिलची, तो constitution से already mentioned अछि, but because center is more powerful, you know, they have the central role. So quasi federal structure we have, right? So unity and diversity. Entire country is governed by a single constitution. Religious coexistence, interstate mobility, uniform pattern of law, penal code, administrative works, economic integration, institution of pilgrimage and religious practices, like people from South India go to North India to South India, East to West. So by religion places also we have integration. Then institution of pilgrimage practices, fairs and festivals. Fairs and festivals. Climatic integration via monsoon. Okay, monsoon also affects us. From south Kerala and Tamil Nadu, it comes slowly it goes to the up, and from Himalaya again it comes down. So monsoon also affects the geographical region of India. Then sports and cinema also, it's a major factor. So these are the regions or you can say factors which is helping us to become united, although we have diversity. Okay, moving to the next page. Second question, Indo-Islamic art. I had also said I already discussed unity and diversity, Indo-Islamic art. Because different religion माने कौन mix है, तो तांकरो culture and art रे effect पड़ुला. So the term Indo-Islamic indicates the growth of composite culture as a result of contact, intermixing, and assimilation of the cultural tradition of India and the Islamic world during the medieval period. So the term Indo-Islamic माने कौन India और Islam में mention अछि. तो जो इंडिया रो इंडिजिनस कल्चर थिला और योर लाइक द सुल्तान जो दिल्ली सल्तनट स्टार्ट हला, तो इस्लामिक कल्चर भी तासतो इंटरमिंगल हे गला हला, बिकॉज़ दिल्ली सल्तनट एंड मुगल that period almost 600 to 700 years it continued, right? So the term Indo-Islamic indicates the growth of composite culture as a result of contact, intermixing, and assimilation of cultural tradition of India and the Islamic world during the medieval period. So India और Islamic world रो जो कांटेक्ट है, इंटरमिक्सिंग है, एसिमिलेशन है, तो सही तांको जो स्टार्ट है कोन नवा प्रकार कल्चर स्टार्ट है, आर्ट एंड आर्किटेक्चर स्टार्ट है, सेटा है तर इंडो इस्लामिक कल्चर. इन द फील्ड ऑफ आर्किटेक्चर, a mix of many structural techniques, stylized shapes and surface decorations came about through constant interventions of acceptance, rejection or modification of architecture elements, etc. So I'm saying in the field of architecture, temple architecture, your mosque, जो Islam धर्म लोक माने mosque बनेले, कि विभिन्न प्रकार जो बिल्डिंग बनेले, फोर्ट्स हैगला कि और पैलेसेस हैगला, तो we affect like because एमती नो कि सेमाने सब प्रकार स्कल्पटर्स मान को उठे कि नहीं असले इस्लामिक वर्ल्ड रो, some people will come but local people will also help. तो सेठिकार स्कल्पटर्स इंडिया जति के स्कल्पटर्स थिले, आर्किटेक्ट्स थिले, तो तांकर समस्त आइडिया मिक्स है कि गोटे प्रकार नुवा प्रकार स्टार्ट हैला कल्चर, that is Indo-Islamic culture, Indo-Islamic architecture. Okay, so structural techniques, shapes, surface decorations, etc. So what is saying? Constant intervention or acceptance, rejection or modification. So these architectural entities or categories showcasing multiple styles are known as Indo-Saracenic or Indo-Islamic architecture. तो जो Indo-Islamic architecture को और नाम दिया है Indo-Saracenic. Okay, the Indo-Islamic architecture after 12th century AD began to evolve, adding to it the local flavor of the provisional kingdom of Bengal, Gujarat, Jaunpur, Golconda, Malwa and the Deccan. तो तले तुम्हारे दिल्ली सल्तनत स्टार्ट था सीटा में एवढा सब रीजनल किंगडम थला, बेंगल, गुजरात, जौनपुर, गोलकोंडा, मालवा एंड डेक्कन. तो सब रीजन रे गोटे गोटे तांकर सेपरेट आर्किटेक्चर एड थिला, तो सेमाने इन्फ्लुएंस करबा लागिले, सेमाने इन्फ्लुएंस करले यार इस्लामिक आर्किटेक्चर को, इस्लामिक आर्किटेक्चर इन्फ्लुएंस करले सेमान को. So this leading to the development of provincial style of architecture. Okay, now features. What are the features? Arch and dome method, जोड़े को arcuate style को. So these are the prominent features of the Indo-Islamic art and architecture. That is because हमें building कथा कोचे, temples, mosques, so mainly architecture विषय में discuss करचु. So arch and dome, don't forget to mention these features if this question asks. Arch and dome. Arch तो मैं जानती हूँ, ये वाला shape रहता है, है ना, माने semi circle shape, and dome तो मैं जानती हूँ, जोड़ा कि माने basically जो mosque देखी थी ऊपर एमती dome shape रहता है, onion shape, right? Existence of minars, है ना, मस्जिद तो सब देखियो मीनार माने थाए, राइट? सो जेम हम टेंपल शिखर थाए, विमान थाए, पर मस्जिद तो कोन बहुत रा एमती मीनार्स थाए. इवन इन ताजमहल जदि तुम रिमाइंड करिवो, ताजमहल रे मस्जिद तुम अछि डोम, बिग डोम, है ना, डबल डोम स्ट्रक्चर अछि, एंड ता चारि पटे चारटा मीनार्स अछि, लंबा लंबा, राइट? इन कुतुब मीनार यू कैन remember. So arch and dome, then existence of minars. Mortar was used as a cemetery agent to create arch and dome. So mortar actually Islamic Islamic लोग आसिले, सेतले mortar यूज स्टार्ट हितला. ता पूर्वरो अन्य जिनस हम यूज करथलो, mainly चूना पत्थर and all. So avoided, where is that? Yeah, avoided the representation of human beings, provided spaciousness, massiveness and breadth to Hindu architecture. Basically जते हिंदू आर्किटेक्चर थला mainly सेमाने ह्यूमन बीइंग्स को ही रखुतले रिप्रेजेंटेशन करथले, डेटीज एंड ऑल थिंग्स. बट जे तुम देखियो इस्लामिक आर्किटेक्चर, दे डोंट हैव द ह्यूमन बीइंग्स एंड ऑल, दे विल हैव mainly they will सेमाने कोथरे फोकस करथले स्पेशियस, केमती स्पेशियस बिल्डिंग्स सब, massive structure, big structures, है ना. So these are the things. Even they don't have human things. जे तुम मस्जिद का देखियो mainly सेडी कोन लेखा ही था बेसिकली तांकर जो उर्दू रे और इवन योर कोन कहजो अरबिक लैंग्वेज रे, Arabic script लिखा था तुम्हारा जो कुरान रो वर्सेस एंड ऑल थिंग्स, है ना, जोड़ा कैलीग्राफी को है बेसिकली, स्टाइलिश कैलीग्राफी मीन स्टाइलिश राइटिंग. देन यूज ऑफ पिएट्रे डोरा, वेरी इंपोर्टेंट. पिएट्रे डोरा माने तुम्हारा माने कलर्ड मार्बल्स जदि तुम देखियो, जदि जाइतो तुम योर ताजमहल एंड ऑल, मेनली सेठी कोन जो मार्बल, व्हाइट मार्बल भितरे बहुत प्रकार डिफरेंट कलर्स ऑफ मार्बल यूज होतला और डेकोरेट कराउतला, है ना, पिएट्रे डोरा कहउतला. ओके, now use of use of arabesque method, significance of symmetry, use of water in premises. तुम बहुत फाउंटेन तुम देखिए मुझे फाउंटेन्स रखुतले सेमाने, राइट? So yeah, now this finishes your answer. Okay, but here I had discussed also the different regional styles. Okay, so that the regional question, style question किछ पचार दिया, little bit you should know about the regional architecture during this period. मालवा style, है ना, मालवा तुम जानते हो मध्य प्रदेश एंड उत्तर प्रदेश वाला जो region टा क्वेश्चन है मालवा, right? मालवा प्लेटू, बुंदेलखंड, मालवा, right? So the cities of Dhar and Mandu in the Malwa plateau become prominent seats of architecture. Dhar and Mandu, these are the Rajasthan area रे भी एटा basically रोची, Mandu and Dhar. Dhar I think Madhya Pradesh and Mandu in Rajasthan. The most prominent feature of the building here is the use of different colored stones and marbles. Different color stones and marbles, जोड़ा कि Pietro already हम discuss कर चुके. The Pietro technique was used for decoration purposes. The building had large windows, okay, mainly Indo Islamic, you can say, both bada window rutla, and were decorated by stylized use of arches and pillars. It made the buildings and rooms well ventilated. Large windows ର फायदा कोन थला, रूम गुडा को well ventilated होतला, सेतल तो फैंस वगैरह तो नथला, सो से वाला स्ट्रक्चर बनाले जोथे कि प्रॉपर वेंटिलेशन होतला दरकार, ओके, और तुम फैनिंग करते रहो. आर्टिफिशियल रिजर्वायर्स नॉन एज बाउलीज, हला बाउली तुम देखिथिबो किछि डॉक्यूमेंटरी एंड ऑल, राजस्थान एंड गुजरात वाला एरिया रे जोठी कि बेसिकली पानी रो बहुत अभाव थाए, सो दे यूज्ड टू हैव अंडरग्राउंड स्ट्रक्चर्स. इवन योर जोटा कि जंती तुम देखिथिबो रानी का भाव पट्टान जो अछि जोटा कि इवन यूनेस्को वर्ल्ड हेरिटेज साइट, सो लाइक दैट बाउली माने कोन जोटी वाटर स्टोर्स माने करथले बेसिकली, सो दैट खरा दिन रे पानी मिलिबो. So artificial reservoirs known as bowlies were constructed in the premises for storage of water based on imperial architecture. Then the use of barter system, the barter should be BAR, introduced by the Tughlaqs made the building. What is this barter system? The use of barter system introduced by the Tughlaqs made the buildings strong. Okay. Okay, this is some kind of system, maybe mortar, it should be. Barter system introduced by the Tughlaq man introduced करले barter system जोड़ा कि building को strong कला. Maybe mortar it is referring to, I'm not sure, we have to check. Okay, what is this barter system exactly? Then no use of minars is found in other Indo-Islamic architecture. Okay, obviously minars mainly तमर Islamic लोग माने use करले Islamic architecture में, but here in the your Malwa style of architecture there was no use of minars. The example लेडी कौन दीजिए, रानी रूपमती pavilion, जहाज महल, अशरफी महल, etc. So Rani Rupmati was a very famous queen under the Malwa kingdom. Okay, Rani Rupmati pavilion, then Jahaj Mahal was there. जोटा कि चारियाड माने गोटे आर्टिफिशियल रिजर्वायर भितरे इनसाइड रे गोटे महल अछि, हला काइंड ऑफ आइलैंड फील होबो सेतरे. So that is one thing. Then Asrafi Mahal are the examples of Malwa architecture, Malwa style. Jaunpur style, Jaunpur. Okay, Jaunpur तो जानथिबो जोटा कि तमरा मेनली यूपी वाला रीजन अछि. The main feature of Sarki Mosque is the huge rectangular pylon or gateway with arches. So what is saying, the main feature of Sarki Mosque को जो कहछ Sarki Mosque रो huge rectangular pylon or gateway, बहुत प्रकार गुडे चारकोनिया गुडे आपण gateway अछि with arches, हला. Then तुम even if you go to the Taj Mahal or any forts, in the entrance you will find this kind of rectangular arches, rectangular gateway with arches. Okay, through these arches we entered the three main mosques in Jaunpur. जौनपुर जो तीन मेन मॉस्क अछि कोन कोन अछि, अतला मस्जिद, जामा मस्जिद और लाल दरवाजा. Okay, so these are the example of Jaunpur style. They are made of what? They are made of stone and have fine carvings and lattice work. So he is saying जो जौनपुर कोन, they are जो अछि कोन entrance, rectangular entrance with arches, they are made of stone, मैंने red stone वगैरह सेटा में यूज हुआ स्टडी इतला, and have fine carvings and lattice work. Unlike the Delhi mosque of the same period, there are no minarets. The unique feature of the buildings here is the use of bold and forceful characters painted on huge screens. So what is saying? The unique feature of the buildings is the use of bold and forceful characters painted on huge screens in the center and side bays of the prayer hall. Okay. So bold and forceful characters mainly letter and all painted each huge screen there. Next, Bijapur or Deccan style. Bijapur तुम जानथिबो in Karnataka, South India रे, हैला. Bijapur, Golconda, Ahmednagar, you have heard. Okay, Adil Shahi dynasty from Bijapur, right? A special feature of the Bijapur style was the treatment of its ceilings, which were decorated with rich carvings. So it mainly focus on ceilings. Ceilings means chhato to them देखुचे, हैला room रो. So he's saying the treatment of its ceilings, which are decorated with rich carvings, iron clamps and strong plaster of mortar were used to give strength to the buildings. Okay, so it's important mortar and iron clamp be used strength of it. They also are decorated with rich carvings. The number of mosques, tombs and palaces which are unique in the use of three arched facade and bulbous dome. Bulbous dome mainly onion shaped domes, onion shaped dome, and three arched facade is saying which are almost spherical with a narrow neck. So three arched facade and bulbous dome which were almost spherical. Almost spherical is saying with a narrow neck, neck tala narrow, onion shape tak baja. It emphasizes minarets in preference to multiple or large domes, beautifying monuments through surface decoration and artistic parapets. Example, Gol Gumbaz is very famous, one of the largest you can say dome in India. And the mausoleum of Adil Shah in Bijapur, Bijapur was founded by Adil Shah dynasty. Okay, so these are the examples. Then Gujarat style. It was said to have a markedly regional character for patterns borrowed elements from regional temple traditions such as Toranas. Torana mane tomar jo mainly entrance type hoya hochi, hela jo entrance gate thai joda. So it was said to have a markedly regional character, mainly saying Islamic art द्वारा बेसी influence नथला for patterns borrowed elements जो patterns ଥିଲେ ସେମାନେ କୋଉଠି elements ଆଣିଲେ from the regional temple traditions such as torana, lintels in mihrabs, carvings of bell and chain motifs, and carved panels depicting trees for tombs, mosques, and dargah. So these are some examples. Okay, next, Bengal style. It characterized in its use of bricks and black marble suitable for the very heavy rains were adopted into a distinct local style of Indo-Islamic architecture. So he's saying Bengal style architecture mainly use of bricks on ita and black marble. Why? Because Bengalis are both words are suitable for the very heavy rains were adopted into a distinct local style of Indo-Islamic architecture. The mosque built during this period continued the use of sloping Bangla roofs, which was previously used for temples. तो बांग्ला बेसिकली जो मॉस्क माने थिले माने बेंगल रीजन हेला तयारी सो सेथरे जो टेंपल रे भी जेमती यूज होतला बांग्ला रूफ हैला तो स्लोप से भलिया एठी भी मॉस्क रे भी यूज होला द एग्जांपल कोन कदम रसूल मॉस्क इन गौड़ सदर द गौड़ देश को होतला बेंगल रीजन को इवन कैपिटल वाज इन गौड़ देन अदीना मॉस्क इन पांडुआ कंक्लूजन the influence of Indo-Islamic architecture of Delhi on the provincial style depend on the distance of the province from Delhi. So mainly Delhi रो जो थिला Islamic because rule कोटले right Delhi रे ही तांकर capital थिला कहाँ रो Delhi Sultanate even Mughal तो से कोची की तो जो distance depending on the distance of the province सेटा को से भले तांकर architecture को से influence करथिला and the association of the rulers also है So however, the local architects retained certain flavors of the local architecture traditional as well. The building art varied by the regions like availability of local materials, building techniques, and even what is saying climatic. Okay, climatic conditions is could basic ବର୍ଷା होची could कम ବର୍ଷा होची and कोन material available ची depending on that. Next. Okay. So this is the third question: growth of modern education in India. Okay. So growth of modern education in India. So we'll start little bit about mainly modern modern age in India that the British came to India, or you can say British rule started in 1850s or 1750s, you can say. Okay, modern education in India was introduced mainly by the British government, the Christian missionaries, and the educated Indian reformers. Under the British government from Macaulay Minute to 1833 Macaulay, right? Macaulay Minutes in 1833 to Woods Dispatch in 1854 to several commissions like Sadler Commission, Indian Universities Act 1904, etc. built the foundation of the Indian education system during the colonial period. You must be knowing Woods Dispatch was known as the your Magna Carta, right? Magna Carta of Indian modern education, right? Even Hunter Commission will come. So many commissions are there under the British government, but it was started from the Macaulay Minute, right? Next, Radha Krishna Committee. So after independence, the first important major committee was Radha Krishna Committee. In 1948 to 49, the University Education Commission was constituted under Radha Krishna. So Dr. Sarvabhauma Radhakrishnan, the first Vice President of independent India and the second President of Indian Republic, right? So India, so this commission, Radha Krishna Committee, or the University Education Commission, it molded the education system based on the needs of independent India. So pre-independent Indian education value system was catering to colonial masters. So before independence, education system mainly British so that educated Indians only clerical jobs they cannot become leaders, they cannot revolutionize, like all these things. They have those ideas. There was a need to replace Machiavellianism with India value system. Okay. So what is Machiavellianism? It is the policy of eliminating indigenous culture through the planned substitution of the alien culture of the colonizing power via the education system. History Indian history Machiavellian plan thila ki we want to create a educated Indians whose skin will be like skin and blood are Indian, but they are think they are what thinking like will be like British. Okay, the taste and thought will be like British. So that is the idea of Macaulay. Some of the values mentioned in the तो सही idea को change करके mainly राधा कृष्ण कमीशन इंडियन वैल्यू सिस्टम को अडॉप्ट करके ट्राई करथला. तो कौन कौन values mention थिला कमीशन रे, that is wisdom and knowledge, हैला, aims of the social order, that is the desired social order for which youths are being educated. तो basically not only खाली नो कि तुम क्लरिकल जॉब करिवो, wisdom and knowledge भी गेन करे दरकार, and societal order कोन desired social order भी कोन हो दरकार, ता पय एजुकेशन कर दिया जीवो. Then love for higher values of life, training for leadership. So these are the values which should be integrated in the modern education system. That is the idea of the commission, Radhakrishnan commission. So independent Indian education system developed along the lines of this value framework. In the present times, where there are imminent threats of political ideologies hijacking the pedagogy of education and commercialization of education, eroding value systems, it is appreciable to dust off the values promulgated by the commission. So आजकल का एबे भी एटा काफी कमीशन रो जहां थो रिकमेंडेशन थिला काफी एप्लीकेबल. Okay, because people are divided by political ideologies, है ना, and commercialism of education. So this is eroding the value system which the Radhakrishnan commission wanted to revive. Recent controversial circular by the Central University of Kerala directing the research topic for PhD students must be in accordance with the national priorities, and research in irrelevant topics and privileged areas must be discouraged is a case in point. So obviously we cannot force that you do these things and all, but value system should be there, because wisdom, knowledge, and how to create leadership in the society, and social order, what is the माने तुम्हारा educational goal कौन खाली नो कि तुम्हें देखी पैसा छापियो. Then the second important commission was Kothari commission, जोड़ा कि 1964 आस्थिला. So Radhakrishnan commission, if Radhakrishnan commission charted out the value system of Indian education system, it was Kothari commission who provided the basic framework of the same. The commission provided for standardization of education system, that is on 10+2+3 pattern, जोड़ा कि almost still now it was there. Obviously now the national education policy 2020 came, but it was continued from that time only. The standardized education system on 10+2+3 pattern emphasized the need to make work experience and social or national service as an integral part of the education. So work experience, social, national service could be integral part of education. Linking of colleges to several schools in the neighborhood, equalization of opportunities to all and to achieve social and national integration, neighborhood school system without social or religious segregation, and a school complex system integrating primary and secondary levels of education. So these are the recommendations of the Kothari commission. And what else? Establishment of Indian education service, also on the job training of the teaching staff and for efforts on the job training of the teaching staff and for efforts to raise the status of the teachers to attract talents into the profession. And you know खाली दोया लोग as teaching profession को no, तांको on the job training दियो plus raise the status of the teachers. Recently they had planned that like B.Ed should be mandatory for recruitment of the teachers. So all these things are in plan. So to raise expenditure on education from 2.9%, so that time 2.9% of the GDP, 6% se 1985 so the Ponchiba, but that did happen because of so many things, war and all. But recently that in the current national education policy 2020, this was the target again, same thing, same 6% of GDP in the public education. This committee report paved the way for national education policy. So Kothari commission report answer here, which we think national education, the first national education policy 1968 astla, under the recommendations of the Kothari commission, which provided the base and roadmap for further development of the education system in India. So let's see what is national education policy 1968. The policy provided for radical restructuring and equalization of educational opportunities to achieve national integration and greater cultural and economic development. So radical restructuring and equalization of educational opportunities to achieve what? National integration and greater cultural and economic development. Increase public expenditure of education to 6% GDP, again the same thing. Provide better training and qualification of teachers. 3-language formula, it tries to implement the 3-language formula, except Tamil Nadu, most of the states implemented these things. State government should implement the study of a modern Indian language. So 3-language formula, state government they should implement the study of a modern Indian language, preferably one of the southern languages apart from Hindi and English in the Hindi speaking states. So Hindi speaking states ki Hindi and English soito soito तुमे गोटे South Indian language को पढ़ाओ. and of Hindi along with regional language and English in the non-Hindi speaking states. जो regional language जो state रो अछि तो सेमाने कोन करिवे हिंदी पढेबे इंग्लिश सहित Hindi and English and along with their regional language. So Hindi was encouraged to promote a common language for all Indians, but this was mainly protested in the southern states. National Education Policy 1986. So this is the second National Education Policy after the first one, which came in 1968. 68 ulta kar diyo 86. So that came 68 came under the Indira Gandhi government, 86 came under the Rajiv Gandhi government. Person. The policy aimed at the removal of disparities and to equalize educational opportunities, especially for women, SC and ST. Mainly it focus कौन करा कि जो disparity रही है education system में ताको केमती remove करा जाओ and equalized educational opportunities, especially for women and scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. तो women, scheduled caste, scheduled tribes को केमती ज़्यादा opportunity मिलू सेटा को ध्यान दिया गला. Then launching of Operation Blackboard, you should mention this point every time this National Education Policy 1986 comes, to improve primary schools nationwide. So Operation Blackboard को कहाँ करा गला to improve the primary schools nationwide. Then Indira Gandhi National Open University was established, the first open university in India, 1985. Okay, adoption of rural university model based on the philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi to promote economic and social development at the grassroots level in rural area, rural India basically. Then based on the TSR Subramaniam Committee report, elementary education from 6 years to 14 years of age was declared as a fundamental right as per the Article 21A under the 86th Constitutional Amendment Act 2002. So all of you know, Article 21A was introduced under the 86th Constitutional Amendment Act 2002 under Vajpayee government. जो थे कि कौन 6 years to 14 years of age जो पिलामान को primary education or elementary education was mandatory and free of cost. Government will provide. So previously it was under DPSP, which was not justiciable, but it came under the your fundamental rights. Then right to education, right to education act 2009 was implemented. So article 21A को implement करने पे को act असला right to education act के बेसला 2009 रे. So ता अंडर कौन आउट बहुत पूरा प्रोग्राम चल ची कौन like सर्व शिक्षा अभियान, माध्यमिक शिक्षा अभियान, mid day meal program at school, राष्ट्रीय उच्चतर शिक्षा अभियान are some of the important schemes. है ना? तो सर्व शिक्षा अभियान एबे सेटा मिसे के समग्र शिक्षा कर दिया होची समग्र शिक्षा अभियान जोटा कि सर्व शिक्षा प्राइमरी एजुकेशन एंड योर सेकेंडरी एजुकेशन मिसे की हैला समग्र शिक्षा अभियान. देन मिड डे मील प्रोग्राम में जानथिबो 8th क्लास पर्यंत तमरो समस्त दिया होची फ्री मिड डे मील. एंड देन राष्ट्रीय उच्चतर शिक्षा अभियान इज फॉर द हायर एजुकेशन. सो दीस आर द इंपोर्टेंट स्कीम्स. ओके, सो हियर योर आंसर शुड बी even you have to write little bit, yes, because the new one you should write little bit. National Education Policy 2020. Okay, so I had discussed this in detail. So actually in the question the scope you start माने टिके टिके आगे तो मैं British time रे जो start इतला केमती टिके दो इतना point लिखियो. Then regarding the your Kothari Commission, Radha Commission, 1968 the National Education Policy, 1986 National Education Policy, then 2020. Okay, so almost 5 to 10 points you have to write. Okay, okay. But here I had discussed the National Education Policy 2020 in detail. या पर बेसिकली तुम जानथिबो तमर के क्वेश्चन गन कमिटी आस्थिला जे कि जे कि नेशनल एजुकेशन न्यू नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी को ड्राफ्ट करथला इन योर 2018-19 राइट. तो बेस्ड ऑन दैट रिपोर्ट ओनली ड्राफ्ट कमिटी जो के क्वेश्चन गन कमिटी रिपोर्ट अनुसार तोरा एडा आस्ला. सो दिस एम्स टू इंट्रोड्यूस सेवरल चेंजेस इन द इंडियन एजुकेशन सिस्टम फ्रॉम द स्कूल टू द कॉलेज लेवल. The National Education Policy 2020 aims at making India a global knowledge superpower. तो यार मेनली गोल कोन कि इंडिया को केमती गोटे नॉलेज सुपरपावर करा जाऊ. And under तमर जो मिनिस्ट्री थिला मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एचआरडी इट वाज रीनेम्ड एज मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एजुकेशन. स्कूल एजुकेशन, तो स्कूल एजुकेशन कौन चेंजेस कला. यूनिवर्सलाइजेशन ऑफ एजुकेशन फ्रॉम प्री स्कूल टू सेकेंडरी लेवल विथ 100% ग्रॉस एनरोलमेंट रेशियो इन स्कूल एजुकेशन बाय 2030. बेसिकली या पर हमन कोन थिला टारगेट कि एलिमेंटरी एजुकेशन शुड बी 100%. बट इथरे गोटे नुवा स्टेप कराला कि नो एलिमेंटरी सहित सहित कंप्लीटली सेकेंडरी एजुकेशन भी करा जाऊ. सो प्री स्कूल टू सेकेंडरी लेवल माने अप टू 12th with 100% gross enrollment ratio केते पर्यंत by 2030. Then to bring 2 crore out of school children back into the mainstream through an open schooling system. तो जो 2 कोटी पिला जोडा कि आधा स्कूल पढी बाहर पढी छथि ताको केमती mainstream education को वापस आना जाऊ through open schooling system. Then the current 10+2 system तो जानथो जोडी हम पढिलो कोठारी कमिशन अनुसार जो 1968 रे आस्थिला सेतले कंस्ट्रक्टर सन करले 10+2+3. So 3 was there but जो सेटा को हम पढिया कॉलेज ये रे but जो 10+2 system थिला प्राइमरी एजुकेशन एंड सेकेंडरी एजुकेशन सेटा को सन कोन चेंज करले 5 plus 3 plus 3 for 4. The national education policy 2020 को होची कि 10 plus 2 should be replaced by 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. Okay, corresponding to the ages of 3 to 8, 8 to 11, 11 to 14, 14 to 18 years respectively. Now basically एठी 10 plus 2 तो 12 होची, एठी केमती आसीला अधिका 5 plus 3 8, 8 9 10 11, 12 13 14. Okay, 3 दिन 6 4 10, 10 5 15, 15 वर्ष हो राइट. तो बेसिकली जो 3 to 6 years, okay, this is the next point. It will bring the uncovered age group of 3 to 6 years, जोटा कि अंगनवाड़ी एजुकेशन वाला basically आगुरु फॉर्मलाइज एजुकेशन जाउ नथला, but this thing was added in the new education policy 2020 रे एटा को ऐड कर दिया छि. जे 5 रे कोन हला जो ए 3 वर्ष सहित 1 2 सहित प्रथम श्रेणी द्वितीय श्रेणी, तापरे क्लास 3 4th and 5th 3 8 तीन टा राची गला 8 to 11, then 11 to 14, 6 7 8, then 9 10 11 12. okay, जोटा कि 4 हला सेकेंडरी एजुकेशन जाउ छि. Up to this 5 plus 3 plus 3 primary education. Okay, so it will bring the uncovered age group of 3 to 6 years under the school curriculum, जोटा कि आगुर नथिला, which has been recognized globally as the crucial stage for development of mental faculties of the child. जोटा कि तमरो LKG UKG नर्सरी कर दिया होतला है ना, kindergarten ओडिया रे कोन कहंदी प्रारब्ध something. okay, so सेही जो वर्ष जो 3 वर्ष सेटा कि बहुत इंपोर्टेंट, तो सेटा कि फॉर्मल एजुकेशन जाउ नथला, but here it was added. It will also have 12 years of schooling with 3 years of Anganwadi or preschooling. So 12 plus 3 is 15. So basically जो Anganwadi और preschooling जो थला सेटा को formal education में ऐड कर दिया गला. Class 10 and 12 board examination to be made easier to test core competencies rather than memorized facts, with all students allowed to take exam twice. Next, school governance is set to change with a new accreditation framework and an independent authority to regulate both public and private schools. स्कूल गवर्नेंस को चेंज कर दिजो, केमती गोटे न्यू एक्रेडिटेशन फ्रेमवर्क स्टार्ट हबो, आ गोटे इंडिपेंडेंट अथॉरिटी हबो जे कि रेगुलेट करबो बोथ पब्लिक एंड प्राइवेट स्कूल को. ओके, emphasis on foundational literacy and numeracy, no rigid separation between academic streams, extracurricular vocational streams in schools. तो बेसिकली तमे यदि बेसिकली देखिथिबो जनरल स्कूल्स मान करे एक्स्ट्राकरिकुलर एक्टिविटीज को वैसे ध्यान दिया जायनी, वोकेशनल स्ट्रीम्स तो छाड़ी दियो. तो बेसिकली से कहछि कि एम्फासिस दिया जो फाउंडेशनल लिटरेसी न्यूमरेसी सहित सहित कोन एकेडमिक सहित एक्स्ट्राकरिकुलर एक्टिविटीज एंड वोकेशनल स्ट्रीम्स. वोकेशनल एजुकेशन टू स्टार्ट फ्रॉम क्लास 6 विथ इंटर्नशिप्स, वेरी इंपोर्टेंट स्टेप. तो वोकेशनल एजुकेशन माने कोन किसी प्रकार आर्ट क्राफ्ट सिखा जो आर्ट सिखा जो होता है कि से माने इवन इफ दे डोंट कंप्लीट देयर एजुकेशन they can earn their life through this kind of trainings. For example, ITI मान कर जब सिखा जाए, that is a kind of vocational education. So this was like Gandhi's desire to have vocational education in the schools. तो स्कूल मान कर से तांकर प्लान लागी सब स्कूल को इंडिपेंडेंट कर दिया जाओ, माने पिलान को सिखा जाओ कि केमती vocationally किछि प्रकार किछि माने बनै परिबे किछि प्रकार like you can say some kind of clothes, some embroidery things, some kind of pottery. तो से माने सेथ्रु ही सेटा बिकी के अर्न करि परिबे, जोटा कि तमरो बेसिकली स्कूल एजुकेशन स्कूल डेवलपमेंट में यूज हो. तो सेटा को अभी कर दिया जे क्लास 6 दिया जो इंटर्नशिप सहित, देन टीचिंग अप टू एटलीस्ट ग्रेड 5 टू बी इन मदर टंग और रीजनल लैंग्वेज. तो क्लास 5 सहित अप टू क्लास 5 पर्यंत तुमको रीजनल लैंग्वेज और मदर टंग रे दिया जिवो टीचिंग. देन लॉ लैंग्वेज विल बी इंपोज्ड ऑन एनी स्टूडेंट, जोटा कि आल्सो जेमति कि तमरो 1968 जेमति प्रॉब्लम मतलब थ्री लैंग्वेज फार्मूला kind of thing. Even this जो क्वेश्चन कमिटी भी जतले से थ्री लैंग्वेज फार्मूला अप्लाई कर चेष्टा करले तले भी बहुत प्रकार अप्रोड हेतला इन साउथ इंडिया. सो नो लैंग्वेज विल बी इंपोज्ड, तो जोड़ा कि तमरो एक्ट सुधार दिया हिची, तो का किछि लैंग्वेज को इंपोज कर दिया जीवन स्टूडेंट कर ऊपर. देन असेसमेंट रिफॉर्म्स विथ 360 डिग्री होलिस्टिक प्रोग्राम, होलिस्टिक प्रोग्रेस कार्ड. तो असेसमेंट जो कर दिया जीवो 360 डिग्री कर दिया जीवो होलिस्टिक प्रोग्रेस कार्ड, ट्रैकिंग स्टूडेंट्स प्रोग्रेस फॉर अचीविंग लर्निंग आउटकम्स. A new and comprehensive national curriculum framework for teacher education, National Curriculum Framework for Teacher Education 2021 will be formulated by the National Council for Teacher Education, that is NCTE, in consultation with National Council of Educational Research and Training. तो NCERT सहित मिसी कि NCTE कोन गोटे वा curriculum framework बनेबो for teacher education. By 2030 the minimum degree qualification for teaching will be a 4-year integrated B.Ed degree. तो 2030 शेड्यूल से प्लान करछन कि at least B.Ed degree रहया दरकार 4-year integrated B.Ed for that is to be the minimum qualification, जोटा कि आगुरु 10th and CET रे दिया जाउथला primary schools and all. Higher education, so this is the school education, then move to higher education. Gross enrollment ratio in higher education to be raised to 50% by 2035. So सेठी कहला कि secondary education 2030 सुधा 100% कर दबा, and here it is saying कि 2035 सुधा that should be 50% higher education. Also 3.5 crore seats to be added in higher education. Okay, the current gross enrollment ratio in higher education is 26.3, so almost double kotha kuhauchi. Next, holistic undergraduate education with a flexible curriculum can be of 3 to 4 years. तो आमे तो सेटा देखले जो 10 plus 2 रो कोन कोन आसे 5 plus 3 plus 3 4 plus 4 बाकी जो थिला 3 टा को से कहू कि 3 and 4 जोडे कि ऑलरेडी अबे भी चलची लाइक जो बैचलर एजुकेशन जोडा यूजी स्ट्रक्चर को अंडर ग्रेजुएट कहू 3 years course भी अछि and 4 year course भी अछि जो BA BSc and all these are the 3 year courses, BTech and all 4 year courses, MBBS is in 5 years. So holistic undergraduate education with a flexible curriculum can be 3 or 4 years with multiple exit options and appropriate certification within this period. So this is very important. Multiple entry and exit system रहिबो माने तुमे even some course अधा करिक आसी परिबो सेते तुम किसी क्रेडिट मिलिबो. Then again after some years you can join and continue the next thing माने एमति न कि आउथरे पुन स्टार्ट करिया पड़िबो. So this is very important. So MPhil courses will be discontinued and all the courses at undergraduate, postgraduate and PhD level will now be interdisciplinary. Okay, so even okay, arts, science and commerce, this will be very separate regids. They can be interchanged or you can say interlinked. Then because there will be multiple entry exit systems, academic bank of credits because a credit got is stored over. So academic bank of credits to be established to facilitate transfer of credits. तुम गोटे धर किसी कोर्स करथिलो MBA रे तो सेठी किसी क्रेडिट मिलला लेकिन अदर छडी पळलो then you did some MTech or something, so that credits can be added also. Multidisciplinary education and research universities, MERU, multidisciplinary education and research universities, okay, at par with IITs and IIMs to be set up as models of best multidisciplinary education of global standards in the country. So this is a very nice step because for the research प्रति हमर बेसी पैसा में खर्च करनी बेसी ध्यान दोनु. So this is very important कि multidisciplinary subjects होया दरकार, that too तासो research education से research होया दरकार. So IIT IIM line रे एटा तिया बहुत सारा university start हबो. The National Research Foundation will be created as an apex body. तो गोटे National Research Foundation में रहबो जोटा कि apex माने top रे रहबो for fostering a strong research culture and building research capacity across higher education. Then Higher Education Commission of India will be set up as a single umbrella body जोटा कि mainly UGC को replace करिवो for the entire higher education excluding medical and legal education. तो medical legal education छाडी कि जति प्रकार higher education रहबो ताको रेगुलेट करिवो कि Higher Education Commission of India जोटा कि UGC को replace करिवो, right? University Grants Commission. So public, private and private higher education institutions will be governed by the same set of norms for regulation, accreditation and academic standards. So he's saying NEP 2020 public private higher education institution को govern करिवो के गोटे same set of norms मतलब जेमे कि private पे अलगा public पे अलगा जे कि regulation, accreditation, academic standard को भी set करिवो. तो higher education जो commission of India जो रहला जोटा कि UGC को replace करके start हबो ता अंडर चारटा independent verticals रहबो जेम कि first what National Higher Education Regulatory Council. National Higher Education Regulatory Council कौन करिवो से regulate करिवो. Then General Education Council for what standard setting. तो जो सब प्राइवेट एंड पब्लिक इंस्टीट्यूशन ला ताको गोटे स्टैंडर्ड सेट करिवो से. देन हायर एजुकेशन ग्रांट्स काउंसिल फॉर फंडिंग ग्रांट्स फंडिंग रेगुलेटरी फॉर रेगुलेशन. नेशनल हायर एजुकेशन रेगुलेटरी काउंसिल फॉर रेगुलेशन. जनरल एजुकेशन काउंसिल फॉर स्टैंडर्ड सेटिंग कि कौन-कौन तमरो स्टैंडर्ड रहला दरकार एजुकेशन रो. देन हायर एजुकेशन ग्रांट्स काउंसिल फॉर फंडिंग. नेशनल एक्रेडिटेशन काउंसिल फॉर एक्रेडिटेशन. तो रेगुलेशन, स्टैंडर्ड सेटिंग, फंडिंग एंड एक्रेडिटेशन पे चारटा वर्टिकल रहला अंडर द अम्ब्रेला ऑफ HECI. ओके. Then okay, affiliation of colleges is to be phased out in 15 years and stage wise mechanism to be established for granting graded autonomy to colleges. Basically धीरे धीरे कोन within 15 years सब कॉलेज को affiliation दिया जीवो, accreditation दिया जीवो, now independent or autonomy दिया जीवो. Okay, and over a period of time every college is expected to develop into either an autonomous degree granting college or a constituent college of a university. So either गोटे autonomous degree granting college is or a constituent college of a university बहुत दरकार सेटा. This is what is saying. Then other changes apart from school education and your college education, the autonomous body, that is the National Educational Technology Forum, will be created to provide a platform for the free exchange of ideas on the use of technology to enhance learning, assessment, planning and administration. So there will be one body, that is National Educational Technology Forum, that is autonomous body hobo, that will be created to what, for platform for the free exchange of ideas. You can give it to this NETF, National Educational Technology Forum. So what that is what, on the use of technology to enhance learning, assessment, planning and administration. So due to COVID-19, you know, there is a lot of changes. Online learning is happening nowadays. National Assessment Center, that is PARAK, has been created to assess the students. So there is a National Assessment Center, PARAK, that is created to what? To assess the students. It also paves the way for foreign universities to set up campuses in India. It emphasizes setting up of gender inclusion funds, special educational zones for disadvantaged regions and groups. Then National Institute for Pali, Persian and Prakrit, Indian Institute of Translation and Interpretation to be set up. It also aims to increase the public investment in the education sector to reach 6% of GDP at the earliest, which is currently around 4.6% of GDP. Okay. Next, constitutional provisions. Part 4 of the Indian Constitution, Article 45 and Article 39F of Directive Principles of State Policy has a provision for state-funded as well as equitable and accessible education. The 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act 1976 moved education from the state list to the concurrent list under Schedule 7. The educational policies by the central government provides a broad direction and state governments are expected to follow it, but it is not mandatory. For instance, Tamil Nadu doesn't follow the 3-language formula prescribed by the first education policy in 1968. The 86th Constitutional Amendment Act in 2002 made education an enforceable right under Article 21A. Part 3, Fundamental Rights. The right to education 2009 aims to provide primary education to all children aged 6 to 14 years and enforces Article 21A. It also mandates 25% reservation for disadvantaged sections of the society. What is the way forward? The national education policy, although very nice, it aims to facilitate an inclusive, participatory, and holistic approach which takes the consideration field experiences, empirical research, stakeholder feedback, as well as lessons learned from best practices. It is a progressive shift towards a more scientific approach to education. But what is the important thing? Implementation. So it should be implemented very nicely. Whatever is the whatever is saying in the bill or in the act, you should be implement. You should implement that very properly in its true vision. The new structure can, if implementation in its true vision, the new structure can bring India at par with the leading countries of the world. So this is what the National Education Policy 2020. Okay. So along with the questions, demand of the question in this thing, we had studied in the details some other things also, okay, which will be helpful. If those questions will ask, you can answer those wells. Okay. And finally, please let me know in the comment section if you are if these videos are helping you. Okay, that will inspire me to create more videos. Okay. And finally, this is a Telegram group, already I had told you, so you can get the notes from this channel. Okay. And you can't type any messages in this group. You can personally put messages in Telegram or in YouTube. I'll answer to those things. Okay. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Jai Jagannath.